Hey, how you doing? This is Bobby Davis from Leader Co-Founder here with Cortex. I'm here with Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm great. How you doing?
You caught me. I was messing with Photoshop.
I had to push it.
I had to push it.
The intro is only 1:40 long. So I'm like, it's just gonna jump on.
Yeah, it's gonna jump on. So
that's okay. We're just working on something right before this. So
yeah. So we'll see how it works out.
Good.
It's not great, but
Okay. So welcome everybody. What's new for everybody today? I see we got a bunch of our regular crowd back. Let's see. Let's say hey to a few people while you're just finishing that up. Adam's here. Maverick's here. Let's see. Sadbeck. Wait, it's not new. It's new today. It's new. We're talking about a topic which we'll talk about in a second. Not a new topic, but we're taking a new angle on a topic. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Glenn is here. Hey, Glenn. How's it going? Thomas is here. Rafinko's back. We got Andrew's here today. Happy Monday, Andrew. Brand new week. We get to do some fun things.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Fide's saying we're late. We were late a couple minutes. So
we were late.
But Adam didn't call us out, so that's a bonus.
That's it. That's good. We're doing better then.
I think he's just sick of calling us out for being late. Beth's here. Hey, Beth. Raphael's back. Fun day Monday indeed. Wilfredo is here. Estevan's back. We're going to try and hype you up again this week, Estevan. For next week, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Jeremy's here too. Hey, Jeremy. Yes, you've called us live. And your one coding project has 5 elements. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the stuff in there. We're going to talk about that project in general, sort of why we came up with that project originally. And then we're going to talk about some of the comments we get on that project. On that video.
Exactly. Yeah.
We get
it's good.
It's overwhelmingly positive. I will say this. Yeah. We have, I think, 1,500 comments on that thing. And I think it's a 97% like thumbs up, like a 3% thumbs down. And we'll talk about why that is here in a second too. So Daniel's here too. Yeah, Thomas, if somebody wants to bring pizza, if somebody wants to send me pizza, that'd be great. Treat these as a lunch and learn. That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I'd be up for that. Tube's here. Hey, Tube. What's going on? You hold on. Let me put it back on.
Now you got to take me off.
There you go. There you go. I see.
I was adding something to the thing. So sorry.
Okay. I like that Jeremy's putting this in now. 1 responsive, 2 database, 3 forgotten. I like that. It's funny. We'll talk about those things. We do have virtual snacks in the green room. Raphael's in there. He's had some of those virtual snacks.
He's had this virtual snacks. They're the best.
Yeah, he's eaten all the virtual snacks in the room before. And Adam says he's now going to let others call us out. So
okay,
I guess thanks, Adam. I guess thanks. So if you guys have any questions as we go through this, or if had any questions about the one project video in general, just put them in chat and we'll get to those.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to talk about that video in general today. We put that it is our most successful video.
Yeah.
It's been out a little over a year. We put it out in May, I think 2019.
Yeah.
I think it was May. So it's been a little over a year. It has almost 400,000 views now. I think it's at.
I haven't looked recently, so that's good.
So it's just shy of 400,000 views. So it's definitely a popular video. It's also, to some people, they don't like it.
Yeah, they think it's a hot take. Like I'm like crazy
for various reasons. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at some comments from people. They've actually put it on YouTube. So if they put it out there as a comment, if you said anything negative about it and you're here, sorry, but you put it out there, so we're going to talk about it.
We're not going to make fun of you personally. We're just going to take your comment. So, like, if you got a negative comment, please post. It's okay.
Exactly, it's okay. Yeah, and yes, the bug tracker. That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
the bug
tracker.
So
when we originally came up with this idea, we talked about it in the office, and it's something we'd already done, and we were already doing in Coder Foundry before we made the video. Long before we were building this project, way before we made this video.
Right.
And we noticed a bunch of videos out there, and they were like, "Oh, the 50 projects you should put on your portfolio, or the 100 projects that'll get you hired." And then we started looking at like searching for good coding projects, and there were thousands of them.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we have a pretty good one. So we were talking about, well, let's do the top 3 coding projects. We have like 3 ideas for projects. Like, let's do that. And then we're like, well, we know if you have a really good one will get you hired. So we're like, let's talk about the one project. And we sort of had this Lord of the Rings thing around it. We're like, oh, it's like the one ring is like the one project. So that's hence the card that we designed for it. It was very Lord of the Rings-ish.
Right.
So if you never watched it, you can go watch it on our channel. Sort our channel by popular, and you'll find it at the top.
Right. I think so. And like, we'll get into it. Like the reasoning behind why we built a bug tracker, I think is more important than building the bug tracker per se.
Right.
Right. And some of the stuff that we say, a lot of people say I don't know what I'm talking about when we've actually sat through interviews and watched this happen. And so like our advice on this comes from experience trying to place people into jobs. So if I felt like our project was like not good, we would change it.
We would change it. Exactly. Yeah. We're not like idealistic about this.
No, we're not.
We're not in love with it. We're not attached to it in any way other than we know it works.
Yeah.
That's
exactly. We just know it works. And there's reasonings behind that. And a lot of people also criticize us on the interview techniques that are kind of applied with the bug tracker.
Yep.
Which we also know works because we do it.
Which we'll talk about as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second.
So what I've done is I've taken some screenshots of actual comments on our video from the last one. The first one's a little bit older, but the rest of just random ones from the last sort of 2 or 3 months. I couldn't go through them all. There's like 1,500 of them. Right. So I picked out the ones, and I didn't pick out the positive ones. I picked out pretty much all negative comments.
Right.
Just anything that I thought was like negative or was like critiquing the video, so we can maybe try and explain them a little bit better.
Yeah. So Raphael said
okay, you got a point.
He says it's the video that made me follow you guys.
Okay.
Thanks, man. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, definitely. And I'll take credit for it being well made too.
Yeah, exactly. It is well made. It's got some stuff in it. It's got some little branding.
It does. It's been popular for us, and yes, that's what probably brought a lot of our subscribers to us. So yes, that's cool.
Yeah.
Here you go. Wilfred's actually made this. He took our advice to start building the bug tracker. So you might get some good points from this, and Wilfred, as to why you're doing this.
Show it to us when you're done.
Yes, we would love to see it.
We'll tell you if it's good or not. We won't make fun of you. We'll just give you honest feedback and say, here's what you need to do.
100%. Definitely.
We build bug trackers every week here at Coder Foundry. We've
seen a lot
at it. Seen a lot of them.
We have seen a lot. Okay, so let's let me share my screen here. Show our first comment. This is by far the most popular comment. It has almost 1,500 likes. Look.
Yeah.
So it timestamps. It says 12:41. It's a bug tracker, and it says Jesus Larry land the plane Larry. So this guy's basically saying like, why don't you just tell me it's a bug tracker and make it a 10-second video?
Exactly.
That's what he's saying here. And clearly a lot of people agree with this. There's 46 replies. Some of them are just basically like, yeah, man, screw these guys. Like it took 22 minutes to explain this project. You could have just told me it was a bug tracker.
Actually, we only took 12 minutes to explain it. But
the whole video is 22 though. It took 12
is it?
It takes 12 minutes for us to mention that it's a bug tracker.
Okay.
So what happens in the first 12 minutes?
So here's the the thing that people don't understand about why we build a bug tracker. We're really talking about a project type, and we go through what the project should be, just in case that you don't know or understand what a bug tracker is. What I really want from the video is it's the one project type that could get you a job. It's really kind of what we're talking about.
Right.
And the bug tracker is the example of how to implement this project type.
Yeah.
Now, you can take it literally and build a bug tracker, fine. But if you went in and I just put a video and said, hey, Kevin, I got a project idea. And you say, it's a bug tracker.
Sweet. Hold on. Let me
see you later. It's like everyone's like, what are you talking about? Why would that get me a job? And so give me some stuff. Now, YouTube, obviously, too, YouTube, we do make videos longer, and that's part of the YouTube game. But what we try to do is not necessarily just expand it for just me blathering around. we felt like the first 12 minutes was really feature packed into the project type. And we talked about a lot of like why this works and those kind of things. So it was meant to be full featured and not like selling it short, you know. We wanted to back it up with a lot of information.
Yep. The only difference we could have done, and we started doing after this, was we actually provide in a lot of our newer videos after this, we provided a lot of like too long didn't watch versions up front. We took 10 seconds. We would say, hey, it's a bug tracker. If you don't want to know anything else about it, thank you very much. We'll catch you later. If you want to watch the rest of the 20 minutes, please stay around. And most people appreciate that a little bit. So that's one thing that we could have changed. Now, this point that David has here, we're going to talk about this next. Because here's the next comment too, look. The title should contain web development instead of software development. And this is sort of David's point here too.
I get it.
It's like the title isn't well chosen. It is well chosen. I'll tell you, it is intentionally chosen this way.
Yeah, it is. So that's all about the YouTube algorithm and how it does things. I understand what you're saying. I've also learned in the last year that when we talk to people that are not in the US, software developer and web developer are two different things. And here in the US, it's kind of like you're writing software. Like I never really thought about it to that like level. Now we do know that you actually could build a bug tracker with mobile. You actually could if you wanted to. Like you could actually show the UI and make it a mobile first project, and that would be pretty good if you're an Android developer as well. Because as the screens shift more towards mobile devices and smaller devices, that software will move over there as well. So, but the point's well taken. So, you know, we've thought about making the desktop version and the mobile version.
Yeah, well, we've done the mobile version.
Yeah, exactly.
We did the mobile version. We have another video, the one project to make on mobile, and we talk about that on there. The point also is that, and we say this a lot, we feel like it's easier to break in as a web developer.
Yes.
So you can become a software developer by becoming a web developer and then branching out. It's much more difficult to go the other way. To break in. So that's another reason why we talk about it that way. And I think we talk about it in that video too. Like this is and we talk about it a lot as on the channel in general, that we believe it's the best way to break in as a software developer is web first.
And so like some of the comments we get, and you may break into them or coming from people that are working, like they've been in a job for 20 years and they don't necessarily need a portfolio to get a job. So they don't want to put in forth the effort of building things, and I get that. And so if you're just going to hire you on the resume anyway, it's like, what's the point? But our primary audience are people trying to break in, and I still believe this, and I don't know if I can ever be convinced otherwise. If you're trying to break in, even if you have a CS degree, boot camp, college, whatever, if you have a portfolio, it's going to make it easier to get a job. And that's all I'm trying to say is like, build some projects, put them on your portfolio, show them, and get a job. One that resonates with people is the bug tracker because everyone has used one.
Which
everyone's used here.
Some people don't actually like the idea of it being a bug tracker. We'll talk about that in a second too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't know if it means us, but I don't have to hear myself back. I don't like you hear me and I hear you. I don't know if that's what it means, but
we just talk too much. That's what it is.
That's what it's saying. We just talk too much. Okay. So here's another one that was basically just saying the same thing, just in a very English way. Like this is somebody from my country. It's the same comment as before. We get this, and this just shows you this was a week ago. Look. We get a lot of these. But we do get a lot of comments like this, like, just give me the project name. And again, as we said, it doesn't really matter. Giving you the project name doesn't really mean anything.
So this is the exact reason why it is 22 minutes long. Because I don't think me telling you to build a project by just giving you the name helps you at all. Like, it doesn't matter. So but if you're well-versed in coding, I get it. And maybe you can say, oh, build a bug tracker. Oh, I'm going to go do that. I don't need to know anything else.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that didn't want to put forth the effort to do it. And then we were explaining like why you do this, which is you can go watch it and, and then you can make your own judgment. But why you do it is because we're trying to solve a business problem, which we say that a lot, just solve a business problem. A really good one is a bug tracker. The second theory behind this that we have when we do interviews is when you show something to an employer, they have one, and therefore they know that if it's good or bad by looking at it. Right. And so like that's the other judgment they can make. I'm like, oh, that's a really slick bug tracker you have there. You know, but if it's Tinder for hiking, it doesn't make as much sense, and it doesn't have that same kind of emotional connection when you're talking to an employer. And so like I want you to have is build a rapport with the employer where they innately understand the project that you're trying to build, and then they innately can look at it and judge it on its merits by just looking at it. And we've seen people get hired time and time again by just demoing this thing.
Yep, definitely.
You know? And it is ambitious. What we do at Coder Foundry is ambitious. It is ambitious, and we build it. But they build it in 3 to 4 weeks. They really do. You know?
But on the comments on YouTube on our video, we have people on both sides of that argument. Somebody's like, "That's way too simplistic. It's just a CRUD app. That'll never get you a job." And then we have somebody that says, "I'm never going to be able to make that. It's the most ridiculous ask ever." Which actually, one of the comments is that I have here. Let me see. It's I have one of these here. Here you go. This one. That's actually too much to ask for. Freshers, newbies, calm down. You can make some simple coders to land a job. This is a very high-level code project that is meant for the role of a full-stack developer, and you don't actually need it to start. This is good for 2 to 3 years experience people. Industry, stop raising entry-level standards.
So here's the deal. You do not have to build this project, Kevin. You don't have to build it.
You don't.
All we're saying is if you do build it, you're more likely to get an offer from an employer.
Yes.
And when I'm tasked with getting people jobs, the bootcamp exists for one reason only. It's not to educate, it's to get people jobs. I say that a lot, and it just rubs people the wrong way. We're a job factory. Coder Foundry is creating the environment in order for you to get a job. That's the purpose. That's our goal. That's our mission statement. And so, therefore, I want to remove as many barriers as possible for you. And the reason I can do that is show these kind of like high-end jobs. Now, the thing is, I don't believe this is a 2 to 3 year job. I think a 2 to 3 year guy could build our bug trackers in 2 to 3 days.
Right.
These guys build this over a matter of weeks. I'll be full-time, 40 to 50 hours a week. So they've got 150 hours to 200 hours in their bug tracker when it's all said and done. And then we drive that to completion. We do it.
Here you go. Brian's in the class right now. It's completely doable in 4 weeks. And if it's too easy for anyone, there's plenty of room to upgrade it and make it your own.
Boom. That's right, Brian.
That's it.
So, and I've seen his. This is good.
Awesome. This comment to me is just somebody who just isn't bothered. They don't want to take the time to put in the effort to do it. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if people that are, it's making it more difficult for this guy to get a job because his tic-tac-toe game ain't going to get him a job anymore.
Here's the scary version of that comment: is that guy already is working in the industry.
That's
and
true.
so, like, he's giving advice to people that that's bad advice to people where they won't break in because they don't have serious projects on their portfolios.
Right.
And so, like, it's not a problem for him to find a job. He's already broke in. He's already working. He's already got it. Right. And we're not being gatekeepers here. We're not in charge of whether you get a job or not. If you can get a job with tic-tac-toe, great. That's awesome. If someone's going to hire you with a tic-tac-toe on your app, and I've seen boot camps that have those coming out of there, that's awesome. But I don't believe that's the case. And that's why boot camps in general get bad names, is because we don't push the students to make projects that are good enough to break them in. You know, if you can make a fully functional CRUD app with UI front end, graphing, notifications, all those kind of things, doing important features like tracking changes as certain row values change, then you track those changes like history. Those things apply to other projects, and that's what we're really teaching, is like this could apply to any project.
Right.
So that's kind of what we do.
Here you go. Fiona's asking, I want to do this, but not having worked in software development yet, I've never used a bug tracker. Do you have a suggestion for a bug tracker to look at to understand what they actually involve? So
think of it like this. Jira being very popular. There's a bunch of them. Just type in bug tracker software.
Yeah, and that's Jira, right?
Yeah. Now Jira's it's a paid version, so you may not be able to look at. And Jira is like the most complex. They're like the Salesforce of bug trackers. I think they have too much stuff on it. But in general, think of it like this. Let's say, Fiona, you owned a piece of software. and your customers are using it, and you allowed your customers to submit a ticket request for either an enhancement, an improvement, or a fix. And so that submittal comes in, and then the project manager reviews those submittals, and then he takes the submittals and assigns that to the appropriate developer on the developer team. So there may be a UI on the team, there may be a DB backend. So he kind of filters the tickets down, assigns it to the correct developer. Then the developer opens that ticket up and works it. Basically says, oh, I see what you're doing. He makes his fix. He adds some notes. He changes the status from in progress to closed. Then the project manager gets that ticket back, and then they go, okay, let's get this pushed to production. And that goes from closed to like in production. So it's a workflow system that allows you to fix software defects or add enhancements that you're coming from either a business unit or your customers, someone who's the user of your software. That's kind of it is.
Here's a unrelated technical question for you. Just partway through this, we might as well. Best way to save data in web application when offline, 10% of the time, and then sync when online.
So you can use a couple of methods there. You can use local storage if you want to, for web applications. That's a really popular way to do that. Okay. So local storage can be pretty large, but it's not going to save everything. It does have limits. So you need to scope into what you're going to do, but local storage could be the way to do that right now.
Okay. I don't think I get this. What I don't understand is if content in that video is something you already know or not needed, move to another. Why leave a negative comment? YouTube, Rafinko.
That's okay, man.
That's how YouTube works. It's okay. It makes us better, because there's sometimes we'll see stuff in there and be like, okay, that's great. We agree with that.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
Yeah, and then we'll make a video about with an improvement. So too long didn't read. We try to do that in videos now when we pre-record them for people, and we didn't really think about that when we're new to YouTube. We're never really I wasn't conscious of that, so we're trying to learn to be better at what we do. And if I slur a word every now and then, that caused us to edit and retake and do things like that, so we could be better at it. So.
Here you go. Is it Fede Poi? What would be the second coding project?
So in Coder Foundry, we have 3. So in 12 weeks, you'll build 3 full stack web applications. In addition to your portfolio being primarily HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We built a blog because everyone's seen a blog before. If you don't know what a blog is, look at Medium. And we that's the first project because it's a simpler project. Then we build the bug tracker, and then the third one we build a hybrid project, which is Xamarin Web APIs and MVC backend, and that's to track financials expenses and income. So it's we call it the financial portal. You can call it whatever you want, but if you looked at mint.com or something like that, we're building that. The reason we build these 3 projects, and our projects may change over time, but here is, and this is the reason for that video, is if we change the project, it's still going to meet the same criteria, which is if I look at this and I show it to you, do you immediately understand what it's supposed to do? If you're a hiring manager, that's number one goal while we pick projects. So everyone knows what a blog is, everyone knows what a bug tracker is, and everyone knows that either they wish they had a budgeting app or they're using a budgeting app. They know innately kind of what that means. So that's what we do. And second, the technology that we use to pick, we're going to interview primarily for C# jobs. So we're ASP.NET school. And so we're going to build those matching the stack with the employers as the second goal. And then third is just solving that business problem so it looks like a serious problem. So even if you build tic-tac-toe multiplayer support with AI, it just doesn't resonate with them unless you're interviewing for a game job.
Yep. And it better be good if you are. Your tic-tac-toe better be out of this world if you're.
That's what I'm saying, man. It should
be. You're going for a game job.
Yeah, out of this world, tournament support, right? Bracketing, skill-based matching. Something like that.
And that's how you could extend it. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
And I think if you're going to really go after it, the tic-tac-toe is what. If Coder Foundry built a tic-tac-toe app, it wouldn't be tic-tac-toe, it'd be Connect 4.
Right.
So then you can make it a little bit harder for that to work. The logic that it has to require to figure out, do I have 4 in a row? the board's bigger, all those kind of problems. So we would build that before we build it.
And you can build a better UI too for something like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. David has a nice compliment for us here. Haven't seen anyone on YouTube doing a live stream for their community to discuss and respond to their aspects and arguments. Really big praise from myself. Well, thanks, David.
Yeah, I mean, like, and we want it to be good. We do want it to be good. And more than anything, we want our content to be helpful. And so, like, when I see some of the comments, I don't get mad. I just say, that's just wrong, man. Like, that's just not right. I mean, like, saying you don't need a portfolio is just bad advice.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why why we give some of our advice too, is because we originally started the channel because we saw a lot of bad advice. We're like, man, this guy either we saw two groups. We saw one group that was grumpy coder guy giving advice to keep people out, and then we saw one group that was dude who's been coding 5 minutes and
doesn't want to do the work,
something, but doesn't really understand the whole thing.
Right. And so, like, what we say all the time is, like, I don't want to be the guy that blows sunshine and rainbows and just says, hey, learn to code, get a job. And, like, when I say learn to code, I mean really learn how to code. It's going to take a significant amount of investment on your time. At the boot camp, and you can ask Brian Quinn and all those guys, we work it hard because I'm trying to get people jobs. It's hard work. It's not easy. It's not for everyone. People drop, they quit. But for the ones that get through, they're going to get jobs, because when you show these 3 projects and they're like, wow, okay, you built that in 3 weeks, you can work here. Right. And that's kind of what we're going for. If you're in college and university, I have yet to see it, and a lot of boot camps don't push their students as hard as we do. And so, like, I just want everyone to win. You know, I want the job to be easier than Coder Founder.
Yep.
So that's kind of how that's our approach. Got any more comments here?
Oh, there's a ton.
Adam likes sunshine and rainbows. Stuff like this. Yeah.
We
don't we all?
That's just life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Life isn't always that. It can be, but it's not always that. Let me see here. Here you go. Ron's asking if you can build the project in Python.
Yeah. Yep. So here's the other reason too. So the other thing about this video is it takes a hard take on why you should do it in .NET. And I've said this a lot. If you're interviewing for a job, just look at how many jobs are in your area, and are they building in your area websites with Python? I don't think that is the biggest web development platform out there. Okay. So if you don't have a job and you're just trying to break in, that's why we push .NET, because we know the demand for that. We can pretty much assure that there is demand for that in every place because it's supported by Microsoft. Does that mean React isn't a thing? No, React's a thing. You know, there's other ways. Java's a thing. Java has JSP and all those other things that you can build websites with. Python is very popular, okay? But it's primarily used in data science arenas. So just make sure that your stack is aligning with the job, and it's a lot easier to break in. Now, can you say, I know Python and I can learn C# and will they hire you? It's possible, yeah. But if you're interviewing against other C# people, they're going to take less of a risk on you unless you're a really, really good interviewer. That's all we're saying is align the stack with the job you're interviewing for. So that's all. Yep. But Python's used. It's good. And it's still a good project to do. But if you're going for data science, I'd build a data science project that focuses around that kind of arena.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a funny comment from Alex. He says, getting negative comments to start a successful YouTube channel. I don't get any negative comments.
We can solve that today if you want us to.
You just started something right there. Maybe you won't get any now. That's pretty funny.
That's funny.
Let me see here. Here you go. Eric's asking, I can't participate in the boot camp. Would you consider something for someone who isn't a beginner and give them challenge projects? I know you don't offer part-time anymore. This is something we're sort of working on, maybe.
Yeah. It's
don't want to spoil.
We'll see. We don't want to see. We're sort of working on this, but there's some other things that are ahead of this. But we may do some stuff like that. But I do believe that you can look at building a business-focused projects, Eric. However you learn how to do that. So, like, if you want to learn .NET and C#, go to ASP.NET, learn/learn. Or Google MVC movie, do that project, and then take that knowledge and turn it into a bug tracker, a ticket issuing system, whatever kind of CRUD app you can think of that solves a business problem. And I wouldn't use MVC Movie because it's kind of not a business problem. You know, it just tracks a movie collection.
Right.
But you can do the same techniques to turn it into a business problem, and then people will take you more seriously in interviews. That's just all I'm saying. So it's kind of cool.
Yep. This is funny. Colloquialism that I get that you won't.
Really? What's a get?
It's just an insult.
It's just an insult?
It's just,
okay.
Yeah, it's not a horrible insult. Well, it's not positive. It's a negative, and it's an insult. It's negative, but it's not like.
Does it mean you're dumb, or does it mean you're
no? Generally, maybe selfish. Maybe is another word that's often put with it.
Okay.
Something like that. So there you go. That's interesting.
So Git being a repository of all knowledge and all code.
Yes, is a negative.
The Git is selfish because they pull all the code to themselves. Okay, I get it.
That's what it is. Here you go. Here's some funny things about your tic-tac-toe thing. Somebody's just a 3D tic-tac-toe on a cube. Yes, good extension.
Are you going to be doing 3D JS 3D for a living though? And see, that's my point. Like, they're going to look at it and go, like, we don't do that here. It's cool. It's neat, but you got to realize that they're building CRUD apps a lot of times. And like, can you show me a CRUD app? And then that's the disconnect. I think people they don't understand. And the connotation that I have with like game type videos or game type projects, if you're not interviewing for game jobs, it just makes you look unserious. And I'll probably say it for the next 20 years. Skill-based matchmaking triggered.
There you go. You need to get on that. Raphael. Yeah, get on that.
So how many times have you got a cat? How many times you've actually won? You know, like.
Yeah, I like it.
See, the problem with tic-tac-toe is like once you know a couple of moves, it's super easy to solve. Yeah. Connect 4, the game, would be way harder to like figure out.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. So. Let's look at a couple more comments here. Hold on. Let's see. We had one fairly recently that was kind of long, but I thought was kind of interesting. Okay. Had a lot of points in it. Actually, let me get to this one first because this one's interesting. So it's good advice. The only issue I have with the showing a sample of your work thing is there are some people out there that will plagiarize someone else's work. What happens when you get to the interview, though, and somebody asks you any kind of question about that work?
You fail. And so, like, so what we do inside of Coder Foundry, and this is what you need to do too, is when goes in through like how you talk about the project. So if you can, walk into a room and get them to look at your project, step 1, so they look at it, you can get them to ask you questions about that project instead of their code trivia. Step 2, step 3 is say, answer those kind of questions at a high level about your project and then go through a code review. And if you know every line and in and out of your project, you'll pass a tech interview. If you went and downloaded a Coder Foundry student project off Git, compiled it and passed it off as your own, I don't think you'll get a job. So it's not what we say all the time. It's not 5 magic beans. Like, there's some work involved in this. Like, it's not a magic pill that you can take and that now you can get a job and you can fake your way in. I don't think you can fake your way in most jobs.
And if you do, this is the job where if you do fake your way in through
You'll get fired.
You will be there 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
It will not
take anything. So like, it's okay to look at someone else's project and take that and get requirements from that. But my advice is don't take their code. You can look at it, but then build it on your own. I think that's the thing that we tell everyone. That's why on our public Git, we don't have a bug tracker source code. Yep. We don't want you to copy it. We want you to like aspire to build it.
Yep. Which we built another video to give you a demo of it so you can see exactly what it is. So we do have a video on that too, the one project video. So oh, there you go. I guess Hot Fogger is looking to come in. That's not the one I want to put it on. Hold on.
Okay, cool.
I'm good with data structures and algorithms. What should I build?
A project that solves a business problem, period.
Yep.
That you think that aligns to what the company is more likely to do. that you're interviewing for. So if you're a business focused project, so this is why when we talk about CS grads, and there's a lot of knowledge about this too, like all you need to know is data structure and algorithms, and you can pass a job. And I think what they're doing is all the advice is coming from the way Google interviews. And so they think everyone interviews the way Google does. And therefore that's the only thing you need to know. I think knowing data structure and algorithms is a good thing. I think it's very beneficial, but if you can't hook a database to something, you don't know how to like build CRUD pages. You don't know how to build a controller that solves a business problem. That's only going to get you so far. There is mechanics of actually putting together all three components of a web app, the views, the models in between, and the database on the back end. So like, that's really what you're called to do in a job. And so people that could be weaker on data structures and algorithms, but they have great projects portfolios, that's why they perform better in interviews. So hopefully that helps. Yeah.
Yep. This is not something we thought about. Thomas here. Thanks for the question, or actually an idea, Thomas. Is there an idea in the works for group projects where CF acts as a central hub for people? Like they have these 12 people. This is the project. Create a GitHub and work together on the projects. You guys could do that right now. We're not.
Yeah.
That's not something we're actually.
We don't do that on a class. That's not my philosophy is different. And so like we don't do that. So my philosophy comes from my experience in college. I remember being in a SAS class, and this is a true story. So if you don't know my story, I went to one college and then I transferred to another. But at the time, when colleges are more frequent about this now, but at the time, like if you transfer from one college to another, a lot of times your credits wouldn't transfer. And so you had to start over because they just want you to pay more money. So I actually started over and at late in life, like 23 years old. So like I was still in college at 24, but like I remember being in a SAS class. I'd already taken all of these programming classes and no one wanted to partner with me on a project because I was the old dude at 23. There's a lot of 19-year-olds in there and they saw me as an older guy. And so I just raised my hand to the instructor and I said, can I just do this on my own? Can I be a project of one? And he said, no one wants to join Bobby? And I'm like, nope, no one did. I wasn't cool enough, I guess. And so I finished all the work in like 2 days. And then I remember being in lab, they're like, hey, can we join your project? I'm like, nah, man, it's too late now. So I realized right away that group work, it ends up where one person is predominantly doing all the work.
And that's exactly that my story for
yeah.
I'm at a project.
And then you just kind of ride along the coattails. And I think, Thomas, maybe you're the guy that's doing all the work, but a lot of people just try to like ride around and not do a whole lot, and they don't learn a lot of things. So inside of Coder Founder, everyone's required to build their own projects by themselves because I think they learn more that way. That's just why I think about it. So we don't really do that. It's just my philosophy.
Uh-oh. I don't know what Adam left on.
Oh, no. Check out. You got a negative comment, man. You're successful now.
Oh, that's it. That is it. I think it's hilariously funny, depending on what Adam put.
I don't know what he put. Don't be mean.
Condoning in any way what Adam put on whatever he said in his comments.
It's not our fault.
That's pretty funny.
Ron Bellany had a question here.
Let me see which one. The data science one?
Yeah.
We'll get to that in 1 second. Yes, Thomas, I agree. It's hard to, when you guys are commenting on here, it's difficult.
Yeah, we don't know. Like we're just taking it as
we take it like,
as it's straight.
Maybe sarcasm around the thing. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's tough when you're dealing with chat on here. That's just how it is. Data science project. What's a good example of one that Ron could make?
So I'm not an expert in data science projects, but here's the deal. What I would do, I would find a data set that you can download. So I think one that would be relevant today is that I think you can go down and download the COVID data sets. I would train that, and then I would show results from those. So you've got to build something with like Power BI or some kind of visualization of that data set. And that's where I would start, something that's kind of like important. So you could like in the US, voting records are public. There's a lot of public data sets out there that you can grab that are massive and you can train it. The other one is, well, I don't know. I think that's what the other one was more around AI than really machine learning. So you do have to, but so you could build a machine learning type app too that figures out like based on buying habits and see if you can get some purchase data, something like that, where you could figure out predictive analytics on like what they're going to purchase. So you get to connect that to a store data or something like that.
That would be cool. So like makes recommendations maybe based on
the recommendation engine.
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something I would do. Whereas you could see that showing up on a Shopify site or something like that. So just kind of look at those kind of projects. The thing with data science is you got to get the data. Now, I've seen a lot of data science data sets out there that are like nondescript and meaningless. I don't think those are good. They're just like random fields with bad names and like they don't really mean anything. Find a meaningful data set, and I think COVID could be one.
Definitely topical.
Yeah, definitely topical. You know.
Okay, let me pull up another
right, cool.
comment here. This one is long.
It's long,
and it might be kind of small on the screen. But let me read this. So this was only a few days ago. Jeff said, "Amazing. This video. Let's just start out with this video full of horrible advice. How you organize a project is not a design pattern. First and foremost, though, there is no one way to be. No one set of things is going to apply everywhere, e.g. MVC.
Yeah,
which we agree. That's true.
Yeah, we agree.
It's great. It's almost everywhere, but a lot of companies use RX. Others use MVVM with varying support. So I think he's saying you need to learn all the design patterns to do this. Someone to know what prompted you to build the project you're showing them. What do you answer? To get a job?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to care.
Right.
If you use a different language, you're more likely to have no experience with the frameworks they use. They'll ask you how you feel about it. Tell them you've learned new things before and you're eager to learn new things if that's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it? I can't read it from here.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff in here, but sure.
That's the gist of it. So like in general, so like what you're seeing is someone that is 5 years or 10 years into working as a dev. And so like learning a new language is no big deal. So like plenty of times I have learned new languages on the fly because I got hired to do something and I just learned the new language. Plenty of times I've been thrown into projects to maintain something and I had no idea what the language was before I started on the project. But you can do that as a senior developer and the things that you've done before, even based on your experience. If you're trying to break in and you've never coded professionally before, and the only thing you know is Python, and then you're interviewing for a C# job, they're just going to think that you might not be able to cut it quick enough. Right. It's just a natural implication. Second, MVC is an architectural design pattern, by the way. It is. It's how you organize your projects is a design pattern. So the pattern is I got a model, I've got a view, and I've got a controller. And that is a pattern. And MVC is primarily used on web projects. So if you're, again, we go back to the premise of our video, if you're going to go into web dev, MVC is a good pattern to know. Are there other patterns? Yes. MVVM, you'll see that a lot in desktop and mobile. Can you do that on the web? Absolutely. You can do that if you want to. But, primarily those are the kind of the patterns that you see. And even in React, Angular, and all the other JavaScript frameworks, they're adopting some sort of MVC. They just don't call it that necessarily, but there's a controller, there's a view model, and there's a model in the middle. So like, but yeah, you can learn more design patterns. But again, what we say all the time is don't focus your learning. You don't need to know everything to get started. We're just saying, pick a job, full stack web dev, learn a design pattern that's well supported in the industry, i.e. MVC, and then use a language and a stack that a lot of people use, i.e. .NET and C#. That's all we're saying. These guys that are talking to you are coding in embedded, if I read into his comments, or they're doing desktop. And so what you build differs based on what you're trying to build. So yeah, MVVM would be something primarily seen in mobile and desktop. Yeah. And then embedded is also totally different because a lot of times it doesn't even have a UI. So, to those guys, UI doesn't matter. But for web stuff, it absolutely matters.
Right.
So, anyway.
Right. Okay, here's a funny comment. Okay, we get this comment a lot.
Yeah.
I'm more going to say you get this comment a lot.
Yeah, we get it a lot.
Anyone else thought this was Michael Rapaport?
So, and if you don't know Michael Rapaport, we got this a lot. Like, I look like this guy, right? Michael Rapaport. And Kevin, I just don't quite see it.
Nope.
I mean, he looks nothing like me at all.
No, I mean, we'll probably put some glasses on him, and I think he could be your brother. Are you sure he's not your brother?
You know, if he was, he'd be on the show already. We'd invite him on. So, Michael Rapaport, if you're watching, I'd love to have you on the show, and we can talk about the Lakers or whatever you want to talk about.
He's big into sports, isn't he? He's a gambler.
Huge, and he's a Knicks fan and a Lakers fan, which is weird.
Yeah,
but he appears a lot on ESPN, does a lot of appearances, does a lot. He's been in movies. I think he did Law and Order Run. I mean, I think he's, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, he's done all kinds of stuff. So we get that a fair bit.
Yeah.
Now a serious point. Hold on.
So we can ask Tech Rally. Hey, Tech Rally, have you ever been accused of being someone famous? I mean,
yeah, that's another sign. That is
another sign, man.
like when they say, "Hey, you look like this guy." Yeah. See, Ego says, "You sure you're not him?" I know. I'm not convinced, Ego. Yeah. So, that's funny. Here we go. Let's put up this one. This is again a too long didn't watch, a bug tracking system. But the real comment here is, come to think of it, if I have no clue about programming, how am I supposed to know the requirements of a bug tracker? And somebody sort of asked this a little bit earlier on too.
That's a fair point.
Question. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would, we've kind of addressed that by telling people what it needs to do.
Yeah. And that's
but you could Google it too. You could actually Google what a bug tracker system does.
He did the too long didn't watch. It's a bug track, and then's like, what's a bug tracker again?
What is it?
Watch the 12 minutes, and you'll learn what it is. This is like the ultimate comment in like, I'm not going to watch it. Can you just give me the injection of like what it is? Can you just like give me the knowledge injection?
Yeah.
Like, no, you got to watch it. You got to figure out what it is. I think that's
right.
But it's a valid comment that yes, you do need to understand what it is. Oh
yeah, then they say when I'm talking that me and Michael Rapaport have completely different accents.
He has a very thick New York accent.
He's very New Yorkian, so I can't pull that off.
Yeah, yeah. You got the very southern. He's got the very New York.
Yeah.
Here you go. So here's another point we make.
Okay.
The too many custom stacks. For each shop has their own stack. Far better to take on a candidate who has built something they align with, but doesn't matter what stack. As in the end solution the solution is important. The user doesn't care what tech or stack you used.
If you're a consulting company, yes. So you may be working on a company that is building a lot of projects, and they're using different stacks all the time. If you're interviewing for most jobs, they're interviewing for a specific skill set. They just are. And you can fight that all you want, and that's fine. Go ahead and go do it and try to translate your experience in stack A over to stack B and say, I can do that. If you have 5 to 10 years experience, they'll probably believe you. If you have less than 1, they probably won't. And I just, and so our advice comes from, I guess, in a place of like, don't make this mistake, please. We want you to get a job. Like, I don't understand like the hate for this. So like, and it's primarily because like I'm probably picking a stack that they don't use, and therefore I'm saying theirs is irrelevant. And I'm really not saying that at all. I mean, React may take over the world, and a year from now, we may be a React school because it takes over the world.
And that's the thing. If it did,
I wouldn't apologize that for a second, because all I want to do is get people a job. But that doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, like it really, really doesn't. When you look at the power that Microsoft wields in this industry, people use C# in droves, and they're building projects in droves, and they're pushing C# to every conceivable platform that they can, whether it be web, mobile, desktop, services, embedded. It's everywhere. Does it mean it's the only thing? No. So my advice is break in with something, and I think C# is a good choice, and then expand your horizons, expand your toolkit. But don't think that you can just learn this one thing as a learner and break into another job that has a completely different stack. And that's all we're saying. Just pick a widely used stack. That's all. I don't think it's that hard. I don't even think it's that glitch in the matrix. All right, cool.
You and Michael Rapaport.
Yeah, man.
Have you been in the same place at the same time? I don't know. I don't think so.
So I'm going to answer this one. What about Razor Pages? And you're right. Microsoft has 2 ways of doing this right now. MVC and Razor Pages. We are still teaching MVC to this day because it's the most in demand right now. Razor Pages is basically in its newer version. It's like very new and like how they're doing it. What they're trying to do is simplify the MVC design pattern. And but I'm not a huge fan of it right now. But if it takes over, we would translate the class into Razor Pages. It solves problems that some of the things you run into with MVC, makes it simpler. But MVC is also used in JSP projects. It's also used in Angular. It's also used in React. So that's why we still teach MVC, because the pattern is widely used across the different stacks. And so at least at that point, if you had to translate, you at least know like the concept of a controller. And Razor Pages kind of like obfuscates that a little bit by the way it lays out its code, because it has, but you know, I can be moved either way on that one. I think you can use either one. So,
yep. Here you go. Alex says he agrees it's better for a new developer to be really good at a few things than the master of none.
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you only have game projects on your portfolio and you're interviewing for business jobs, it's just gonna be hard. You know, and you know, you better hope that dude likes tic-tac-toe that you're interviewing with.
Right.
Like, you know, like that really resonates him in a deep core. I just don't think it does.
Right. So this question we get asked a lot, not always this nicely.
Okay, cool.
So, this one is, how do you use something that hasn't yet been built to track the progress of you building it? We've had this in a few various forms, some of them really horribly asked, but this one's just a legit, like they asked it nicely.
So one of the things that we say is use your bug tracker to track your progress of the building process of your bug tracker.
So this is like the chicken and the egg argument.
Yeah, it's a chicken and the egg argument. But as I say, that's next level. I mean, I say that literally in there because it shows that you're using your software to build other software. Okay. For example, I don't know if you knew this, but Microsoft built Visual Studio while they were building Visual Studio. Okay, so that's what they did. So like, and so like now they use Visual Studio in the project. So, but how you can do this is, number one is lay out your kind of software requirements, lay out a set of feature lists that you want in your bug tracker, and you can track that manually in paper if you want to. But once you get your database put together, you can put those issues in the database and then use that as your test data as you're rolling it out.
Yeah.
But eventually at the end of the day, even if you had to put them in at the end of the project, you still want to track your work progress through the bug tracker. That's all I'm saying. You can do it at the end of the project, or you can do it while you're doing it. Once you get enough functionality up.
Or you've like iterated over it a few times that you can put this data in. And you're going to need some data in there anyway.
Exactly.
You need to design and look around and to work with. And you can put it in kind of early. We're not talking about launching a final product and then putting your stuff. That's not what we're saying. We're saying use the project as a set of test data while you build the project. I think that confuses people a lot of times.
Right. And the other thing that hurts bug tracker demos is when you have the name of the project is test project, and then you have all these test tickets in there that look kind of lame. And so, but when you have like actual issues that you ran into and actual things, it makes the software seem more sophisticated when you just have like test project 1, 10 tickets. They're all like lorem ipsums, and it's like you didn't really use it.
Yeah, it's way more powerful if you show
it's way more powerful in the presentation of it if it's a real project.
Yep. Raphael says, what if his own bug tracker catches him slacking?
Calls you out for being late. You said you're going to finish that 14 days ago, Raphael.
Exactly. I keep sending you these daily reminders to do
the notification system's telling you to get going. So.
Adam says become self-aware and should back up on your views. So, don't put AI into your bug tracker. That could be an issue.
You could, yeah.
Glenn says you have to compile the compiler in order to create the compiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, that's it. There's a secular thing you got to do.
You got to get to a certain point to where it can do it, and But I mean, today, I mean, there
you go. C# compiler is written in.
I don't know if it's written in C# or not. It could be in C.
It might be
I really don't know the answer to that.
That is pretty funny though.
Yeah,
but it's true. I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
C# applications that help you develop C# written in C#.
I'm pretty sure Visual Studio is written in C#.
Yeah.
All right, and it's WPF. But at least early on, I don't know what it is right now. I mean, VS Code's something different, I'm sure.
Yep. You get Brian says this too: create your basic products and then use the tracker to track the upgrades.
Absolutely, man. Brian, do that. If you haven't done it yet, do it. Start adding in real tickets into that thing. And as they're also what we ask them to do too is like as they add issues to their financial portal, put the financial portal into the bug tracker as well and start tracking multiple projects with it. I think it's great. Assign all the tickets to you, work all the tickets and close them out. It's a lot better than Legal Notepad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's do one more here, and then we will do one meme that I've picked out.
Oh, got a meme.
So this is a direct quote, and this is a quote, but the way this is taken is so out of context, it's ridiculous. Yes. If it looks cool, the code behind it is cool. Now, I'm guessing this is a negative comment. I don't know that it is.
Yeah.
In fact, there's no context around it. It makes me think that it is.
So I get a lot of negative comments on that. Like, and this is where UI doesn't matter. What if you don't want to be a UI guy and you have no aspiring to do that? But here's the thing that I keep telling people. See, this quote is also out of context.
It is.
So what I'm saying is when you're talking to a hiring manager, all right. And I'm talking about from the perspective of the hiring manager. You show him a UI that is attractive, well laid out, well thoughtful. He'll automatically think the code behind it must be well laid out and thoughtful because that's the visual thing that you're showing him. And so that's what I'm saying. If it looks cool, he'll think or behind the code is cool because they'll look at it visually. Even the hardened programmers will look at stuff and like, oh, that's neat. That's pretty cool. And I find myself doing it too, even when I'm looking at students' bug trackers, like, oh, that looks good. And you assume that everything behind it is better, is good.
The same goes the other way too, right?
If it looks like crap, they're going to assume that the code behind it's crappy. And you can say all you want. You know, I'm not a design guy. You know, I really don't know what two colors go together. You know, I don't know why I put 18 buttons on this one page, but you know, I'll let some UI guy figure that out.
Yeah,
it's just really a bad interview technique.
You use a color palette if you can't do it.
Yes, and we tell them all the time. Like I'll see ugly bug trackers and we'll say change it.
Yep.
Like you've got to pick colors that go together. That's just the way it is, and you can resist it all you want and say I'm not a UI person. With your full stack dev, they expect you to at least be able to lay a page out. You know, you don't have to make the logo for the company, but you know, you should be able to style things.
You should at least be aware of like what a modern website looks like too.
Exactly.
Like if you build
UI, UX, user experience, all those things.
Saying this, yeah. If he says he's my MySpace layout, yeah, that's probably bad. It's true. Yeah, because they're gonna think like, man, this guy's outdated. Like, why is he using a design that was like popular in '96?
Yeah. So like, that's the whole thing, which I don't understand why. Why attractive looking websites is some kind of like novel concept, but you think it is, you know, like just make it look ugly. And I've worked with programmers that are like that, and they didn't work at my company very long because like we do have to like, come on, man, can you like not put 5 buttons on the page? I mean, like, what are we doing? Like, does every action have to be triggered by a button click? I mean, like, that's just kind of bad, you know? So I think it should look attractive, well laid out, have a great user experience, the best you can do. Yeah. And then get people to use it to see if it's easy to use and intuitive and understand.
Let's wrap up here. Maverick's calling it. It's meme time.
Meme time. All right, let's do it. Meme time. 1 hour.
Okay, so I didn't share this one with you already.
All right, cool. I'll laugh at it.
So
I'm ready to laugh.
Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. I don't know. I liked it. I forget who shared it in Discord, but this is one from Discord, and I thought it was pretty funny. The all new Apple bike. The bike's $6,000. The seat's $1,000. So this obviously
that's a crack on the wheels for the cheese grater.
This obviously comes on the wheels from the Mac Pro, which I would kill to get the Mac Pro. Likewise, the stand for the screen is also like $1,000.
Right.
I think the wheels for the Mac Pro, I don't think they were $1,000, but they were hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the wheels.
I wonder if that Apple bike is electric. I mean, was that one of those hybrid electric bikes?
I would hope it would be.
Yeah.
Would you think so?
Okay.
I don't know. I think it would. But I like this one. That's the only one I chose for today. I thought it was good. So you guys have other memes, post them in the Discord channel. That would be great.
Yeah.
We interact with you guys over there too. If you have extra questions after this, go post them over there. There's a channel for that. And Adam's the moderator over there, so don't say
one for the road. I have worked on PLCs. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So, we were at a factory trying to make that stuff work, and it's kind of.
What is it? What's PLCs?
Programmable logic controllers, typically used to run like a conveyor belt. And so one example would be one that runs a conveyor belt that's scanning items coming through, and it's like maybe checking things or stuff like that.
So is this something like Amazon would use at their warehouse or something?
Any kind of manufacturing environment. So,
okay.
So
interesting.
But it's definitely a low level kind of embedded type programming that is it's meant to be non-visual in any way.
Okay.
And so sometimes you can you have a little UI and it's not sophisticated on that point.
That's funny. Magic says the $400 if you buy with a Mac, $700 if you buy separately.
Yeah.
I don't want you buy them separately, but there you go. $700 wheels. So that's where that meme came from.
But those wheels are sweet though, man.
They are cool. But would you buy them? I don't know.
So if you're buying a $50,000 computer anyway, does it really matter how much the wheels cost? You're getting the wheels anyway.
That's true. That is very true.
But they're not all 50 grand. I mean, they always quote the super high end.
The highest one. I think they are 10 to start. They're very expensive.
Yeah. But most render boxes they're made for rendering.
It makes my trash can Mac Pro look cheap. It's not cheap.
Yeah. So he's asking, why are you buying a $50,000 computer? Yeah, if you're Industrial Light and Magic, you're buying 10 of them, putting them in a render farm.
Yeah.
You're putting one on every desk of every guy that's making Star Wars.
We had this discussion in the office. This is not a consumer.
No, this isn't. You don't surf the web with this thing.
No. Do we have a Mac Pro? I have a trash can Mac Pro. It's the older Mac Pro. It's not one of the fancy new 50.
It's actually pretty new though. We bought it right before that one came out.
Yeah, we did, and I like it. It's a great machine. Yeah. I love it. I use it here. I bought it home here every day. I use it at the moment. So. And
I have a MacBook Pro.
Yep.
So.
Okay, a couple things before we wrap up then. We do have the book launch coming. If you guys want to attend the event for the book launch, we are registering people. You can go to 5stepstoasoftwarejob.com and you can scroll down and you can register at the bottom there.
Yeah.
And you'll get a link to come join us on the evening of the 23rd. I know it's late for some of you guys that are overseas. It'll be the morning of the 24th. But if you want to come, you can. It's friends and family and you guys.
Yeah. And if anyone knows Michael Rapaport, tell him I want him to come on the show.
Yes. And we're going to have some former students there. Some people we talk about in the book and that kind of stuff too. So,
yep. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. I'm excited to just talk where you can see some people that have came through the boot camp and what they're doing now, what they did before, and how learning to be a software developer, a coder was really changed your life. So I'm really excited about that part of it.
Yep, it's going to be great. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We also have anybody is interested in the school. We do also have a open house tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, 6 Eastern. If you go to coderfoundry.com, there's a banner at the top. You can click the banner and register there. We're doing a virtual open house. So if you're interested in the school, we'll be talking about the school tomorrow night.
Right.
So if you're interested in being a student, you can come and do that. So we're accepting applications in the US and limited overseas, depending on the situation or what country you're in and that kind of stuff.
And so we'll work with you individually on that. It is it's not like this show. This is a purely sales tool. We're just talking about the school and getting people in.
Yep.
Starts in 4 weeks or less, July the 6th. So if you're wanting to get in, I would say you need to apply this week, period. Or we do have a cutoff. It's not July the 4th. So if you call us the Friday before the Monday it starts, you won't get in. So if you're thinking about it, just go ahead and apply this week.
Yep, definitely. Let's ask one question about the book. Is the book project based?
It's not a coding book. It's more about interviewing.
Yep. It's more about how to break in.
How to break in after you've learned to code. So there's a lot of learn to code books out there.
It's a lot of stuff we talk about on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. So this is about how to break in, how to use your portfolio as a sales tool, and those kind of things. So it's a very non-technical book.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Cool.
All right.
You guys want to join us on Discord? You can. Links down in the description for this video.
Yeah.
If not, I think we're wrapping up.
Good luck and keep coding, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.